What if I told you that if Naruto and Satoru Gojo fought, this is going to be a one-sided beatdown? Well, of course, this depends on many factors and many conditions, which I will be breaking down in this video, because this is truly a battle of gods, if you see what I did there. Anyway, this video is going to be split into 3 parts. The first part is going to be me breaking down the abilities of Satoru Gojo. The second part will be me doing the same, but for Naruto Uzumaki. And then, of course, the third part will be my conclusion and who I think the winner will be. And also, shout out to all the special grade and honored one members of the channel. You guys make these videos possible. Alright, now to start off with Satoru. I'm going to start off with Gojo because obviously I am a GEGE channel, so I thought I should start off with something like this. So obviously I thought I should start off with my main man, you know how it is. Satoru Gojo is quite the monster, to the point that he honestly doesn't even feel like he's actually a character in Jujutsu Kaisen. He's just so overpowered, he actually feels like he is from another anime and he was just placed into this anime, and he's just kind of the god king of the verse because he's just too powerful. Pretty much because I am primarily a GEGE channel and actually a power scaling one at that, I have done a lot, and I mean a lot of videos and especially many live streams discussing this, and pretty much the conclusion that the vast majority of people have come to and that most people agree to. Obviously I know there's a few people who don't, it is what it is, but it's the fact that Gojo and as well as another character called Sukuna are 2 characters that scale so highly they're actually 8 or 9 whole tiers above everyone else in the series, and I mean specifically above the guys who are the second strongest. So guys like Hakari and Jackpot, Kenjaku, Yuta. The gap is just overwhelmingly massive between those guys and then Sukuna and Gojo. Now to break down his abilities, he doesn't have many, but the abilities that he has are so broken are actually what allows him to be viable in this fight, because the JJK verse doesn't scale at all compared to the Naruto verse. You'll understand when I scale Naruto. So actually every character in JJK can't actually scale to any Naruto character, but because Gojo has this specific, just absolutely hex moveset, he's actually the only character in JJK that can be used in cross versus battles. Even characters like Sukuna can't be used actually, as he would just pretty much die instantly because his hacks don't translate well against other strong series. But Gojo doesn't have this issue, and of course this is because of his technique, the Limitless, and with his 6 eyes as well. So pretty much to break it down, Gojo has 3 primary techniques. He has the blue, the neutral, and the red. The blue pretty much erases space and makes situations that shouldn't even be possible. For example, if you were to use the blue, let's say on an apple on a table, he would literally erase that space from existence and have the apple not exist. It's to the point that it actually goes against universal law. Actually, that applies to his other move, Hollow Purple. I guess the blue does abide to the universe's laws, but it just kind of makes a situation that shouldn't be normally possible, but it still plays by the rules. I should actually correct myself. So pretty much imagine, let's say there's an apple, so there's 1 apple on the table, and he uses his blue to erase it. There's not 0 apples, there's actually -1 apples. It's really hard to explain, I really hope that makes sense. So he creates situations that shouldn't be possible. It's quite a powerful technique. Obviously we have his other technique, probably his most famous technique, the neutral. Pretty much it's like a constant barrier that's completely around him, and it doesn't let things get close to him. Actually, I shouldn't say that. It does let things get close to him, but what it does is it creates an infinity between himself and whatever is trying to touch him. The tricky thing here is that there's actually 2 definitions of infinity. There's infinity as in literally infinite, and then there's infinity meaning just very great. It's to the point where technically, yes, you could touch him, but because there's literally an infinity between you and, let's say, him, it is literally impossible for you to touch him. The only way to touch him is if you have an attack that is guaranteed to hit somebody, because if it's guaranteed to hit Gojo, it will eventually bypass the infinity. But this is only in very extreme cases and very specific cases, which are the domain expansions, sure hit techniques, and of course the domain amplification. But that's his neutral. And now for his red. The red is literally the reversal of blue, which has to do with his reverse curse technique, which I'll get into later. Imagine, so if blue literally eats away at space and erases space, the red is literally the reverse, where instead of taking space away, it literally pushes space. So pretty much it's literally the reverse of removing space. It pretty much pushes it away, which creates an incredibly powerful shockwave, and a very powerful one at that. Pretty much it repels literally everything, and it's kind of like just a massive concussive blast is the best way to put it. And then of course we have the big bad, the Hollow Purple. So the Hollow Purple is a technique where he combines the blue and red, and it pretty much creates a technique that literally should not exist in this universe and doesn't listen to universal law. As a matter of fact, it actively breaks it. As obviously Gojo's techniques already work on an atomic level, this is even beyond that. By mixing blue and red, it literally creates kind of like an orb, I guess, or like a death ball. At least that's how it's portrayed in the anime. In the manga, it doesn't actually show the ball. It pretty much destroys all matter instantly. It works beyond a subatomic level, and it's just something that, as I said, should not exist in the universe. And of course he has his domain expansion, the Infinite Void, which is pretty much going to be his best shot at being Naruto. You'll see when I explain this battle later on. The Infinite Void pretty much is a psychological attack, and it pretty much puts literally an infinite amount of information into your brain, to the point that when humans had actually experienced this for 0.2 seconds, it had actually given them 6 whole months of information. It gives you so much information in that moment that you literally cannot move because there's just too much information to process. And let me reiterate, this is a psychological attack. It's incredibly powerful and it's pretty much unblockable actually. That pretty much breaks down everything about the Limitless. Of course, I gave down really dumbed down and very simplified versions of his technique, or I guess simplified summaries is what I should be saying, because his technique is so complex. It would literally take me a whole hour to actually explain his technique, and I'm gonna be honest, the actual in-depth intricacies of his technique is actually just too much for me. I'm not even kidding, you actually need a whole maths PhD to get this, or at the very least a couple hours of studying. But it doesn't really matter, we get the basis of what it is, and this is how it works on a fundamental level. And of course, he also has the 6 eyes, which I didn't mention because it's really weird. The 6 eyes technically is not a part of his Limitless set, but the 6 eyes is a genetic set of eyes that's also passed down through the Gojo family, just as how the Limitless is a curse technique that's passed down through the Gojo family. The 6 eyes are very, very powerful in the sense that it literally gives you information for everything. You can literally perceive cursed energy, density, weight, mass, speed, energy, and far more. It's actually kind of crazy just how much information you get. And you could also see things at a distance. It's really, really crazy. Where even if you're miles away, you can actually zoom in on people, I guess. Because in the anime, when he looks at Yuji, it's like he's got binoculars or something in his eyes. But it's actually not even the best part about his eyes, which I mean, that's already broken to have all this information right off the bat. If he uses this on Naruto, well, if he actually does, he'd realize how fucked he is when he senses all of that energy coming from Naruto. But regardless, the best part about the 6 eyes is actually that it literally makes it so that you don't lose cursed energy. So for example, the Limitless, so all of Gojo's techniques, which I just stated, if someone were to have had the Limitless without the 6 eyes, if they were to use red or blue or even the neutral a couple times, they would actually be completely out of cursed energy because it costs so much. So actually the technique is very strong, but it's pretty useless because you just run out of cursed energy. But that's where the 6 eyes comes in. The 6 eyes makes it so that if you use techniques, or that if you used cursed energy in general, it actually doesn't consume any of your cursed energy, if that makes sense. So think about it like this. Let's say Gojo's total cursed energy, I'm just going to make random numbers up by the way, is 1000. And to use one of his techniques, let's say the blue or the red, costs 200 of his cursed energy points. Just these made up numbers for the sake of argument. These aren't actually accurate numbers. In a normal situation, let's say he'd only be able to use it 4 or 5 times and he'd run out of cursed energy. Because of his 6 eyes, if you were to use the red, instead of using 200 cursed energy, he'd actually be using 0.0000001% cursed energy instead of 200 points, to the point that it's so little that he's actually just not even using cursed energy, if that makes sense. So pretty much what it means is that he literally has infinite stamina. He has an infinite amount of cursed energy at his disposal. Or I guess not really infinite, because he does have a limit on how much he actually can output and can reinforce. But in terms of running out, he just doesn't run out of cursed energy. And this also actually ties into his never running out of stamina, because this actually goes into his reverse curse technique. Reverse curse technique is an ability in Jujutsu Kaisen which pretty much allows you to just heal yourself straight up, to the point that you can even remove toxins and poisons out of your body at a higher level. Obviously at the very highest level, you can actually straight up heal other people. We know Gojo doesn't have this very highest level, but we do know that he can remove poisons and toxins, so he is on that mid level, which is still very great. I mean, just to have this, you need to be incredibly gifted and powerful to just have this to begin with, honestly. So the fact that he has it at this mid-tier level is already incredibly impressive. But pretty much, reverse curse technique is actually very, very costly, because yes, you can actually heal your arms and limbs with it, but it just costs an insane amount to heal yourself. But here's the thing, remember Gojo's 6 eyes where he doesn't run out of cursed energy, or that his cursed energy consumption is so low that it's pretty much 0? Well, actually, this applies to his reverse curse technique, which is so broken. So pretty much, it's to the point that Gojo, it literally has his neutral, so the thing that protects him on 24/7, but the issue is that it's actually going to literally fry his brain and kill him if he has this on all the time, every day and every night. But what he does is he actually uses reverse curse technique on the clock, literally 24/7 as well, to constantly heal his brain and to have his brain at a fresh point, so that his brain is fresh and new all the time. And now I know you're thinking, wouldn't this cost so much cursed energy to have the neutral on all the time and then also to use reverse curse technique all the time, which is insanely costly? Well, as you guessed, the 6 eyes makes it so that he never runs out of cursed energy, so he literally has a limitless amount of stamina and a limitless amount of cursed energy supply. Literally, this man doesn't need to sleep. This is why, canonically by the way, it's been said that he could literally kill every single human on the planet if he chose to. After unlocking reverse curse technique and mastering it after his 3rd year, he literally has no stamina issues now. He also never runs out of cursed energy, and he's also the strongest man in the world. And he also has incredibly deadly techniques where he could just keep spamming the hollow purple and just wiping out cities. And I mean, who's gonna stop him if he really wanted to kill every single human in the world? With his 6 eyes, he's able to just see everything as well, so he could literally identify every single human, so no one would be able to hide from him. And of course, Gojo can fly. He also has teleportation techniques, though he does need hand signs, but over the years he's trained himself so that hand signs are shorter and quicker. But yes, he can actually teleport long and short distances. Of course, he's also a very strong hand-to-hand combat because he has exceptional reinforcement and output as well. And that's pretty much everything that's relevant for Gojo for this video. So I hope I did a good job breaking down his abilities in case you didn't know, or if you needed a refresher on that. And if you've been enjoying the video so far, far, please do be sure to subscribe. It's much appreciated. And now onto my boy, Naruto Uzumaki. I've just realized I've spent quite a lot of time power scaling Gojo, and I really don't want this video to be too long, so I'm not going to spend too much time on Naruto. However, don't worry, I'm not going to do him a disservice. I'm going to do him justice. I'm just going to be very quick with it. So I should actually clarify, the Naruto that I'm going to be using in this video is actually the 6 paths Naruto, who just got his 6 paths, by the way. So the one in the war arc who is fighting Kaguya, Madara, and also Sasuke at the end. The reason I'm using this version of Naruto is because yes, I know the Boruto version of Naruto is way stronger than this version, but it's very contentious on who has more chakra though, which I know is a very odd thing to say. You'd think that the Boruto version of Naruto obviously has way more chakra, but I mean there's a whole lot of headcanony that goes into this, and honestly this is not a video of debating about Boruto stuff as well. So actually I'm just going to do myself a favor and just avoid that whole mess to begin with, because I don't want to be getting a bunch of comments about that when the video isn't about that. But yes, I will be using this version of Naruto. Now obviously this Naruto is an absolute monster, and that is an understatement. The amount of abilities that he has is just absolutely crazy, and that's the unfortunate part about this thing. Gojo does not have a great arsenal, whereas Naruto just has so many jutsu and has so many utility, it's kind of disgusting. I mean, this version of Naruto had access to so many different Kekkei Genkai because he had all of the tailed beast chakra inside of him, so he could use lava style, sand style, his own wind style, fire style, he had some like acid style. I mean, honestly, if I were to just name off all of the abilities that this version of Naruto has, this section of Naruto would be 10 more minutes longer than it needs to be. Needless to say, he has a wide arsenal of just hacked abilities, but I will be explaining what his strongest, or at least the main ones are. And obviously this being his Sage mode, his Ninetales transformation mode, especially his KCM2, and of course his damn 6 paths mode, which just transcends him to a completely different level, to the point that there is no other word other than deity that describes this man. And I know this is a lot of wank, but comparing the 6 paths characters to JJK World is just really disgusting. And obviously he has high speed regeneration, he has Bijou bombs which can just eviscerate mountains, and he's so fast that it's literally just teleportation, and obviously far beyond light speed. And this isn't even a question, by the way, if Naruto characters are faster than light speed, because pretty much we have characters like Kid Kakashi, who's probably low to mid Jonin, who can easily chop a lightning bolt or react to lightning, and we've seen plenty of times where Jonin level characters can just react to lightning like it's nothing. And then you compare this to characters like Sage mode Naruto, KCM Naruto, and then KCM2 stacked on Sage mode, and then 6 paths, which is like 10 to hundreds of times stronger than KCM already was, and KCM2 is already hundreds to thousands of times stronger than War Kakashi, not even Kid Kakashi, War Kakashi, who's well above lightning speed. And we know that with chakra you literally just get stronger and faster. It's kind of like a literal, the more chakra you have, the faster and stronger you are. I'm gonna be honest, to say Naruto is light speed is an extreme understatement, beside the fact that he has literally dodged light speed attacks that have been said in the databooks, like Haku's abilities. Literally have Haku traveling at light speed between each mirror, or we have 6 paths Madara's Fang of Light, which is literally in the databook said to be literally a light speed attack, and Naruto can casually dodge it. It's not a debate of if Naruto is light speed, it's actually a debate of just how many times faster than light he is. And actually that's the thing, he's just so much faster than Gojo to the point that it actually doesn't matter exactly how fast he is. Naruto casually moving is gonna look like teleportation before Gojo's eyes. That's the point here. And of course, in terms of power, Naruto is easily a moonbuster, at the bare minimum a planet buster, for so many reasons. Because think about this, we have KCM2 Naruto without the Sage mode, who can casually blow away multiple mountains with one Bijou Dama, and imagine when he stacks Sage mode onto this, just how much stronger this makes his Bijou bombs. And now here's the craziest part, KCM2 Sage mode Naruto is this powerful already. When Naruto gets his 6 paths mode, in base, and I mean literally his base 6 paths mode, it's actually stronger than his KCM2 Sage mode, and I mean way stronger, to the point that his base is actually competing with Might Guy in terms of taijutsu, and in base he literally made Madara bitch out and shit his pants. Though in all defense, this is a Madara pre-God Tree, and he also had one Rinnegai. Did I say Rinnegai? I'm sorry, only one Rinnegan, not Guy. And as Obito said, when you put both the Rinnegan together, when it's the true owner, it actually gives the original Rinnegan owner a massive, and I mean just massive power boost. So yes, this was only a one-eyed Madara, but still, this was a Madara who would have curve stomped 8 Gates Guy had Guy not had help from Minato, Gaara, Kakashi, and Lee. And this Naruto was just stomping him badly as well in base form, which is humiliating. And compare this to the fact that KCM2 Sage mode Naruto literally couldn't even beat a one-eyed Rinnegan, no 6 paths Madara. This 6 paths is just such a massive amp, it's just disgusting. And then imagine now you're literally giving it KCM2 on top of this incredibly powerful base. And this isn't even a normal KCM, this is a 6 paths enhanced Senjutsu KCM2, which as we know is at least a 50 times multiplier, probably way higher, I'm gonna be honest. It's just insane how powerful he is. So now think about that. We have a base Naruto who's already stronger than a Naruto who could casually wipe out mountains. And this new version of Naruto Naruto when he goes into his new KCM 6-pass mode, at the bare minimum, tens to hundreds of times stronger than he just was previously. When you think about it like that, it's not a wonder why he's actually a planet buster. I mean, you could literally see it when he casually makes a bunch of massive Biju Bomb Rasen Shurikens, where the explosions are actually so massive when he throws them at these meteorites that it's literally being seen at a space point of view, and it's literally showing the curvature of the Earth. And of course, I know this is only a continental feat, it's not a planetary feat, which are two different things. But the point being that in the last, we had Toneri, who casually sliced the moon into two, and I could be misremembering this because for this part I'm actually going off memory, but if I remember correctly, Naruto literally stops that same attack with his chakra-infused fist. Yes, just his chakra-infused fist, and he punches through the attack, which sliced a moon in half. Now I know this is the last version of Naruto, so it's a Naruto 2 years after the war, so you could argue that he got way stronger. With all the databook statements about Kaguya, he is at the bare minimum a moon or planet buster. There's a lot more depth I could be saying and a lot more information that I could be pulling out of the databooks. But to be honest, even if you don't agree with me on this whole planet or moon busting thing, that's actually completely fine, even though what I'm saying is true. Even if you don't want to buy that, but we can all agree on a continent buster at the bare minimum. I hope we can all agree to that. If you don't agree to that, and I'm lowballing Naruto to an extreme extent, then I'm just kind of baffled. But just keep in mind, me saying he's this powerful is a massive lowball. The point being, he's just way stronger than Gojo. Like I said, Naruto has a countless amount of techniques to the point that it would just take forever to list them all. At the bare minimum, what's important is that I will actually just be listing the techniques that can be used to beat Gojo when the fight actually starts, which is actually going to be now. Alright, so Naruto versus Gojo. How would this fight go? Now, the issue is that Naruto has a lot of win conditions because obviously you just heard me explaining how powerful he is. Now, before I get into all of this massive Naruto wank, let me actually give Gojo his only win condition that he has to beat Naruto. So literally, out of all of his arsenals, the hollow purple, blue, red, all of that, the only win condition he has is the domain expansion. Now, the thing is, Naruto should be far fast enough to just easily dodge and get out of his domain expansion as it activates, but that's thinking too logically. We all know that if this was in real life, Naruto would probably just not move or see what's going on and just stand where he is. If he were to get hit by the domain expansion, I mean, you can correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but does he have any way of actually getting out of that? Because you have to realize this is not a genjutsu. So the thing about genjutsus is it's literally an illusion, and the genjutsu is caused by having the genjutsu caster have their own chakra attack the victim's chakra network. So it literally is affecting the person's chakra network, and this is the reason why other characters can wake people up from a genjutsu, because you can pretty much insert your own chakra into them and kind of, I guess, like fix the disturbed flow, if that makes sense, or like take people out of genjutsu hazes. Obviously there are some extreme exceptions, such as the Tsukuyomi, which I know I've just butchered that name. I've actually never once in my life tried to pronounce that name. I thought it was very easy, I don't know why. But obviously without very rare exceptions like that one, and of course the infinite genjutsu, which was cast on everyone in the world, you can easily break someone out of genjutsus that way. And this is the reason why perfect Jinchuriki can just break out of genjutsu, because they have their Biju partner to just wake them up or insert their own chakra into them, waking them from that genjutsu. The issue is that this infinite void is not an illusion, and it doesn't attack someone's chakra network, it literally attacks your mind. Your mind is in reality and literally receiving an infinite amount of information. It's not a trick, your mind is actually receiving that information. So it's not like Kurama could just wake up Naruto. And of course, if this were to happen, Gojo could just kill a Naruto who's not moved. He could just fire off a hollow purple at Naruto, and obviously Naruto could easily dodge it or defend against it, but the issue is he can't move. So obviously if he were to take this attack without defending himself while he's just standing still, yeah, it's just gonna kill it. And I did try to think of a counter argument against this, because obviously Naruto could just dodge the infinite void, but in a realistic saying, he probably wouldn't. He would just kind of stand there and just watch it happen, because hey, anime characters are fucking stupid, so it is what it is. But one counter argument I did find is that maybe Kurama could switch with Naruto. So let's say Naruto was the one who's hit by the mind attack. We've seen that the tailed beast and the Jinchuriki host don't share the same thoughts, or they don't share the same mind. So even if Naruto were to be hit by this infinite amount of information, it shouldn't hit the Nine Tails actually. So in theory, the Nine Tails could switch with Naruto, who at this point can't move, and then Kurama would be able to move. Now of course the issue then would become, it's not like Gojo's going to deactivate his domain expansion, so even if the Nine Tails were to switch with Naruto, then Kurama would also be hit by the infinite amount of information while he's stuck in there. So then Kurama, who just switched places with Naruto, also has an influx of information and can't move. Now the only extra counter argument to this is that maybe because these Naruto characters are so fast, if he was in his KCM2 when he was hit by the domain expansion, it's possible that in the split moment that the Nine Tails switches with Naruto, because these characters are just so much faster than light, he could just instantly teleport out of the domain. Because yes, I know in the domain, space actually works differently. There's actually a vast amount of space in the domain compared to the outside, but still with the amount of speed that he has, it's possible that in that 0.00001 second that the Nine Tails takes over, he could just book it the hell out of that pretty much. But obviously then it comes down to maybe Gojo's domain is very, very special, so that even the space within the domain, so obviously not the space outside, I mean inside the domain, because space is distorted in every domain. It's possible because of the nature of Gojo's domain and the whole infinity concept. It could literally be an infinite amount of space inside the domain. If this is the case, then Naruto has no way of escaping this, even if Kurama switches and tries to escape in that split moment before Kurama then gets hit by the infinite void. If you guys have any ways that you think Naruto could just resist the infinite void's information influx, by all means, let me know in the comments. I mean, maybe there's a way, I just really can't see it so far, because again, this is not a genjutsu, this is a literal psychological attack on the mind. It literally gives your mind all of this information. It's not something that someone can snap you out. I'm gonna be honest, that was the only win condition that exists for Gojo. The unfortunate part is Naruto has an insane amount of win conditions. So obviously the first win condition that I'm gonna mention is the win condition that is the least likely to be true, but I still wanted to bring it up first because I thought it was a pretty interesting concept and I want to hear what you guys think about this first win condition. It's the fact that perhaps Naruto has just so much energy in these Biju bombs that it would literally just bypass his infinity and just kill it. Because these Biju bombs, especially in his 6 paths KCM2 or Biju Rasen Shuriken bombs or whatever, are just so unbelievably powerful and destructive. It is possible that there's just so much energy inside of these attacks that it would just instantly bypass his neutral and just kill Gojo. That is a very, very likely possibility because we have seen that his neutral does have its limits. So of course, this again was with the special case of domain amplification, which is literally something that is designed to go against something like the neutral. But we did see from what Gojo said in his own words that he is able to increase the output of his neutral so that the amplification wouldn't actually work anymore. So it does appear at the bare minimum, I know this is a very special case with the whole domain amplification is meant to be a guaranteed hit and maybe nullify techniques or whatever, but it does seem like there may be some limit to just how much he can block with his infinity, because this also does go back to the question of, is it just a literal infinite amount of space between him and his opponents, or is it just infinite as in very, 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 very great? But the fact that the infinite void doesn't truly give an infinite amount of information, as a 0.2 second only gives 6 months of information, not a straight up infinite amount in that moment, it does make you wonder if it just means infinity as in the term very great. And I mean infinity as in millions to billions. Regardless, these attacks have just so much attack potency that they could wipe out continents, potentially even planets, I'm gonna be honest. I mean, do you really think Gojo's infinity could actually just stop that much energy? I'm actually curious to hear what you guys think. Personally, I'm really leaning toward it could just be too much energy for the neutral to stop. Even for that infinite space between him and the attack, I think it might be too much. Obviously, if you disagree for this win condition, that's fine. Let me know why, and I'm actually curious to see what arguments people have for and against this. Now, obviously, Naruto's main winning condition is that he can easily seal Gojo. We've seen that sealing abilities can actually just bypass the neutral actually. And of course, Naruto does have some sealing techniques in his 6-pass form where he used the Sand Style Magnet Wrestling Shuriken, which was Shikaku's technique. It's pretty crazy because once Naruto goes in his 6-pass form, most people don't actually know this, but Naruto gains access to all 7 chakra names, so the 5 basic ones as well as the Yin Yang release. But the point being, he has ways of sealing Gojo, and we've seen Gojo and Sukuna are not immune to being sealed. So yeah, just as easy as that, he can just seal. The third way that Naruto can beat Satoru Gojo is with the Truth-Seeking Orbs. Now, in case you didn't know, these Truth-Seeking Orbs actually nullify ninjutsu completely. So you can literally imagine that it's the inverted spear of heaven but on crack, because these things can actually move at light speed, they cannot be touched by normal people, and they can also reshape themselves. Now, actually, I just realized one important factor that I forgot to mention at the beginning of the video was that we're gonna have it so that chakra and cursed energy can interact, because if we don't do this, this is just extremely unfair for both characters, I'm gonna be honest. And also, I hate doing versus battles where the systems don't match. So for example, if you had Bleach characters fight anyone, the normal characters wouldn't be able to see Shikigami. It's just so stupid. To make all cross versus battles fair, what I do is I don't make the systems the same, but I just say that they can interact. If Yuta were to have fought Naruto, and let's say somehow he gets a piece of Naruto's arm or something, and Rika eats it, realistically, because Naruto has no curse techniques, Yuta wouldn't be able to copy anything. But for the sake of this cross versus battle, Yuta would be able to copy all of his jutsu. Or another example is Asta from Black Clover. His ability is anti-magic, so he can pretty much cancel out any magic. Of course, this ability is completely useless against any series that doesn't actually use magic. However, for the sake of cross versus battles, this would affect cursed energy or ninjutsu. So for example, if Naruto tried to hit Asta with a massive Rasengan, Asta could literally just cut it in half or just destroy it with his weapons or his anti-magic. Or if Asta tried to hit Gojo Satoru, it would literally be like the inverted spear of heaven, any of his weapons. It would literally bypass the neutral. Whether you agree with this way of thinking or not, this is the fairest way I can do it, because if not, it makes all these versus battles extremely boring and also just extremely unrealistic if that's the case. So this is the way we can make it fair. But yes, back to the Truth-Seeking Orbs, these things can literally nullify ninjutsu. So this would actually just nullify the infinity. So actually just one of these things could just turn off the neutral for Gojo. And considering how fast they move and how fast Naruto moves, let's say one truth-seeking orb goes at light speed, turns it off. Even if it doesn't travel at light speed, it's still ridiculously fast. I mean, it was keeping up with Night Guy. And we know that the stronger you are, the faster these things would actually become. You can only imagine how fast and strong the 6-pass version of the truth-seeking orbs are when Naruto uses them. But yeah, these things are just too powerful. When Naruto first gets his 6-pass mode, so this teenage version, he has a whole bunch of them. Honestly, one is enough. He wouldn't even have to actually move. He could just throw a bunch of them and just kill him. So then it's always the interesting question of, if they were both bloodlusted, Naruto should actually win this if they're completely bloodlust. Because if they were, Gojo would just activate his domain expansion right off the bat. But considering the difference in speed between the two, Naruto would have already fired off a truth-seeking orb and just gone in and just killed him before his domain could even activate. Before he could probably even lift his arms, Naruto's killed him. But yeah, that's the third way. And out of all the ways Naruto could kill him, this is probably the most likely and also just extremely brutal because it's pretty boring. I mean, he just throws a truth-seeking orb, Gojo doesn't have a neutral, Naruto can just kill him. But if you enjoyed the video, please do be sure to subscribe. I have a ton of videos just like this on the channel. A lot of what ifs, theories, power scaling versus battles, discussions, and the whole bunch. And of course, thank you to all the members of the channel. You guys make these videos possible, so thank you. But yeah, if you've made it this far, you're an absolute legend. And if you did subscribe, you remember the Higuruma fan club. And that's all from me. Take care and have a nice day.